sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sampurita pamita paramita balena vidvansiyo kila kilesa samola jalam teneva landa araham arahoti namang vandami buddha mamalang hadaye tapetva namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa samanta cakkavalesu atra gaccantu devata Saddhammang munirajassa sunanto sagga mokkadam dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta santunti paramang dananti. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today we are going to discuss one of the topics in Buddhism, sukha or happiness. Happiness in English, in Pali, sukha. In Sinhala we say it's sapa. Sukha means our inner peace. Here we are going to explain some kind of teachings in Buddhism that Buddha has explained how we increase our happiness. Our happiness is our main purpose of everyone. We do everything in the name of happiness. But unfortunately, day by day, we are going away from happiness. What is the reason? The reason is that people trust in outside people and things. When those things change, they get upset. When they can control outside people and things, they get upset. And also when their physical body changes, then they are unhappy. In this situation, Buddha has pointed out what is the real fact of happiness. When we listen to Buddha's message, we can understand how we increase our real happiness. Here, we are going to explain some teachings in Buddhism gradually from beginning to end. When Buddha is explaining happiness, he says some kind of primary things that we should have in the name of happiness. First, we should earn something, physical things, by heart, and also if we can earn something in righteous way, that is also very important for our happiness. If we don't have our food or our fundamental needs, actually we can't live happily. Therefore, Buddha says practically how we should get the primary things. That is also very important. And Buddha says it, Atti Sukha. Having something is one of the happinesses. That is also very important. Not only having something, we should spend them. You know, there are some people in the world, they earn a lot of things, but they don't spend those things. They are rich, but they are so greedy. They don't spend their money for them or for their relatives or other people. Therefore, not only earning something, but we should have an ability to spend those things and having a good life. That is very important. Not only that, Buddha says, ananasukha. Ananasukha means that if we have a lot of loans, loan means if we have borrowed something from others, that is also something which brings us unhappiness. Therefore, we should be free from loans. That is also very important. Not only that, Buddha says, finally, anavajja sukha. We should have confidence that I have my good character. If we regret with something, then we have no happiness. Therefore, we should have a good discipline in our speech and behavior. That is also very important for our happiness. Those are the very primary things. Then Buddha goes forward little by little. Then the main thing which decides our happiness is our mind. That is why in the Dhammapada, the handbook of Buddhists, Buddha says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mind is the forerunner. Mind is the forerunner. And Mano Pubbangama Dhamma, Mano Settaha Manomaya. Mind is the chief of all states. And Manomaya, mind made are they. Mind is the main thing that decides our happiness or unhappiness. If we can purify our mind from negative thoughts, this is the real way that decides our happiness. We should identify what are the things that steal our happiness. Whenever we are unhappy, be sure at that moment our mind is polluted with anger, craving or delusion. Our real success depends on happiness. Our happiness depends on how far we have overcome negative thoughts from our mind. In this situation, Buddha says in the primary level, we should do some meritorious activities in the name of happiness. According to Buddhism, there are 3 wholesome deeds that we can practice for our inner peace. We say the 3 meritorious deeds. In this handout you can find it. And we are going to explain as a summary everything. In the primary level, it is very important to practice good deeds with a pure mind. The reason is, whenever we are unhappy, our mind is polluted with negative thoughts. When our mind is wicked, then our words and behavior are not correct. Then suffering follows us. Whenever our mind is pure and calm, then our words and behavior are correct, and happiness follows us. Here Buddha says the importance of practicing merit. Sukho punya sauchyo, Buddha says, practicing merit means gaining happiness. What are the merits that Buddhism has explained? According to Buddhism, we can practice 3 meritorious deeds. Can you remember, Mr. Pranandu? Yes, very good. Generosity, dana, or offering something to others with compassion, with compassionate heart. That is also one of the merits that we can practice for our inner peace, purifying our mind. Then, sila, virtue or morality, good discipline in our speech and behavior. That is also a reason for our happiness. And also third one, bhavana or meditation. Meditation means purifying our mind from negative thoughts, living in the present moment. When we do these things, we have some kind of knowledge that we say the knowledge of karma and action. Karma and its effect in our life. Whatever we do with intention, we will have the same result. When our mind is polluted with negative thoughts, then results are negative. When our mind is pure and calm, the results are fruitful, good. Whenever we do 3 meritorious deeds, dana, generosity, sila, virtue, and bhavana, meditation, at that moment our mind is pure. Our mind has no greed, no anger at that moment. In this situation, Buddha says, as much as we can, we should practice these 3 meritorious deeds. When we practice merit, then always our mind is filled with positive thoughts. Not only practicing these 3 things, but we should go forward little by little. Buddha has recognized the main reason why we suffer. Our happiness depends on how far we have overcome the main reason which disturbs our peace of mind. Whenever we are unhappy, what is the nature of our mind? Ignorance. Our mind is ignorant. Whenever we are unhappy, be sure at that moment we have no mindfulness. We live in the past or future. When we live in the past or future with ignorance, at that moment negative thoughts, defilements can come to our mind and disturb our peace of mind. In this situation, Buddha says, practicing mindfulness is the only way for the purification of beings. Sattana Visuddhiya. Soka Paridhavana Samatikkamaya. Practicing mindfulness is the only way to overcome suffering. Practicing mindfulness is the only way to overcome sorrow and lamentation. As much as we are able to practice mindfulness, keeping our attention in our body and mind, then we are taking care of our mind. We usually take care of everything, the physical things that we have. We take care of our physical body, but we mostly don't take care of our mind, which is the main subject, main thing which decides our happiness. Even though physical things change, if we can create an unshaken mind, balanced mind, then among the difficulties, among the things change, while the people are changing, we can live without suffering. Buddha says here, it is very important to understand the nature of ignorance or delusion. Buddha's main discourses focus on how we overcome ignorance. You know, when Buddha appeared in the world, there were some ascetic people who had eradicated their greed and anger for a long time. Even though they had eradicated their negative thoughts in greed and anger, they had not overcome ignorance. Therefore, they were not successful when Buddha appeared in the world. That is why Buddha had to point it out the final solution to get rid of suffering. Not only we should overcome craving and anger, but mainly we should overcome delusion, the ability to live in the past and future without mindfulness. Day by day, the first thing, we should understand the process of arising of suffering. If we know how suffering arises, at the same time, we know the reason of suffering, and also we know how we overcome suffering, and also we know the path that leads to get rid of suffering, the Four Noble Truths. This is the main message, main doctrine in Buddhism, Four Noble Truths. All Buddhist doctrines can be included in the Four Noble Truths. Buddha says, as an intelligent person, we should understand the suffering. What is the suffering? As an intelligent person, we should recognize what is the reason of suffering. As an intelligent person, with our supramundane knowledge, we should recognize the cessation of suffering. As an intelligent person, we should recognize with our supramundane knowledge the path that leads to get rid of suffering. That is very important. Buddha says in Abhiññā Sutta, what is the suffering? Suffering means arising of five aggregates is suffering. It means whatever we experience through our senses, at the same time, five aggregates arise. Rupa, forms, Vedana, feelings, Sanya, perception, Sankhara, mental formations, Vijnana, consciousness. These five things cannot be divided. These five things are together. Together they arise, together they cease. If we don't know the arising of these five things, then our mind is fixed in external objects and persons. When we go to the mirror, if we are ignorant, we think there is some person outside. But the reason of reflection is here. When animals go to the mirror, they think there are some other animals outside. That is why they bark. That is why they fight. Here, we also, if we are ignorant, when we experience something through our senses, we think there is something or somebody outside. It doesn't mean that. Buddha never says that there is nothing outside. There is something. But those things are alive according to our internal senses. Now we experience this world. This is not the reality. This experience is alive according to our mental formations, according to our ignorance, according to our senses. Our senses arise at the moment according to present mental situation. For example, now you are a friend of mine. I think you are a good person. If I think you have some misbehavior, then I look at you in another way. I create something according to my mental formation. For example, when someone is coming here who has blamed you, as soon as he comes here, you get upset. But the same person who has helped me a lot, then I am so happy when he comes. But you get upset. But the person is same. We create our feelings, our suffering, or happiness according to our mental condition. If we can recognize this situation, and also if we can create a true, wise mind, then whether that person is good or bad, we have no problem. Because as soon as that person comes here, we know very well this is the result of four fundamental things. Satara Maha Bhuta Rupa, Patavi Apo Tejo Vayo, Patavi, earth elements, Apo, water elements, fire elements, and wind elements. And also, when we go to the deeper level, as soon as we see that person, we know very well that experience arises at the moment. When the reasons are together at the same time, then I have some experience here. But that experience is not permanent. That experience is not here before he came. That experience doesn't remain after my mind goes away. That experience is like that I go to the mirror. This is the highest contemplation. But as practical people, when we live in the world, we respect others because we have to live with the ordinary people in the world. Even though we have higher contemplation, higher understanding, we have to deal with other people who have no this understanding. That is why we have to practice loving kindness, compassion, generosity. Then we can deal with them successfully. But mentally, we are in the highest level. Sometimes, when someone disturbs us, we have to go to the police. First, we try to deal with him friendly. If we can't do it, we have to get some decisions. But we do everything with compassion and mindfulness. We don't pollute our mind. taking care of mind, we have to get some decisions. But we get that decision finally, not in the beginning. Again and again, we try to overcome these difficulties friendly. But finally, we have to get some decisions. And however, when we do some good deeds, merits in the primary level, actually we can overcome a lot of difficulties in our day-to-day life. Those are the immediate results. That is the nature of our good activities. When we do good activities with pure mind in our day-to-day life, a lot of things that we do daily are successful. Especially when we practice generosity, our close relatives and friends are happy with us. They are friendly with us. They are helpful to us. That is also very important. That is why Buddha says, Dadang mittani gantati. He who practices generosity is friendly to others. If you practice generosity, then other people like you. That is very important. And also when you practice loving kindness, may all beings be well and happy. Then your spirituality spreads to them. They feel your feelings. You can change their negative thoughts when you spread your positive thoughts to the people, towards the people. That is also very important. Here, that is one of the things Buddha says when he explains tappa or happiness. Susukang vata jivama verinesu averino. You know, there are a lot of people in the world who are angry. If we can create a peaceful mind, we live friendly, we live without anger among the people, those who are angry. We can correct all over the world. We can cover all over the world with a leather, but we can cover our feet. That is why Buddha says, we live without anger among the people, those who are angry. How nice. This is one of the abilities of our life. Sometimes we criticize others, how we live with the people who are angry. Then this is the place where we can show our proficiency, our skillfulness. I am a person who is not angry with the people, among the people who are angry. That is the place where we can show our skillfulness, our proficiency. Again, Buddha says, Susukang vata jivama aturesu anatura aturesu manusyesu viharamanatura. We are living in the society with health, especially with mental health. Among the people, those who are unhealthy. A lot of people in the world, they are unhealthy. Not physically, mentally they are unhealthy. When some negative thoughts are in their minds, they are not happy, they are not healthy. They are unhealthy mentally. Among the people, those who are unhealthy mentally, I am living healthy, having a healthy mind, mentally. This is one of the places that we can show our skillfulness. Susukang mata jivama usukesu anusukha usukesu manusesu viharama anusukha. There are a lot of people in the world who are greedy, who don't practice generosity. Among the people who are greedy in the world, I am living without greed. I am living with generosity. Again, Buddha says, Susukang mata jivama yesanno natti kinchanam. It is not here actually. It is not in this handout. I got it from another place because it is related to the topic that we have selected here, happiness. And I am living in the world without defilements, without negative thoughts, though among the people, those who have negative thoughts. Greed, anger, delusion, jealousy, those are the defilements, negative thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. A lot of people in the world, they live with these negative thoughts. Among those people, we are living in the world without those negative thoughts, having a free mind. This is the way that Buddha has explained to live in the world for the people who wishes to live with happiness. In this situation, from beginning to end, we should have good awareness about our mind. We should take care of our mind like a very beautiful, pleasant, soft flower. Because mind is the main reason that decides our happiness. All Buddhist doctrines focus on purifying our mind, taking care of our mind. Here, it is very important to understand the defilements or enemies who disturbs our peace of mind. And not only recognizing the enemies, but we have an ability to overcome those negative thoughts little by little. From beginning to end, there are a lot of techniques that Buddha has explained. Especially there is a sutta like Vitakka Santana Sutta. When we think something, if our mind is polluted, we should not think those things. For example, when you think someone, if your mind gets upset, you should not think it again and again. You have to change your mind to another thing. That is one of the techniques. When you think something, your mind is polluted, you should think the disadvantages of thinking that thing. That is one of the techniques. Like that, there are some techniques, primary level techniques that we can use in the name of happiness. And when we are on the path of liberation, there are some persons that we can meet, those who have no defilements. Who they are? They are the Buddha and his noble disciples. You know, even though we think some people in this time of period, sometimes our mind is happy when we think they are good behavior. But sometimes when their characters change, we get upset, we are unhappy. That is the nature of the ordinary people. Although today they are good, someday they have misbehaviors. But when we think Buddha, our mind is completely pure. When we think Buddha's enlightened disciples, we never get upset. Our mind is so pure. And when we go on the path of liberation, little by little, the duration of time that we think of Buddha and his teachings and his noble disciples gradually grows up. Now we usually think sometimes our friends, sometimes our relatives, sometimes our mom, dad, we think. That is the nature of our life. But however, little by little we go forward on the spiritual path. We mostly think Buddha's noble qualities. And also we think the qualities of the Dhamma, what he explained. Then little by little, the duration that we reflect on the triple gem grows up, increases. That is why there are some meditation techniques. Buddha Anusati, the contemplating on Buddha's qualities is one of the meditation techniques. The contemplating on Buddha's teachings is also one of the meditation techniques. Contemplating on the qualities of the Buddha's noble disciples is also one of the meditation techniques. When we practice samatha meditation or concentration meditation, we try to purify our mind from negative thoughts. What are the negative thoughts? There are 5 hindrances. Kamachanda, craving or sensual pleasure. Vyapada, anger. Tina midda, uddhacca kukkucca vicikicca. There are 5 hindrances. And when we practice samatha meditation, like loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation, these negative thoughts, hindrances, defilements don't come to our mind. If they are not in our mind, it means we are away from suffering. If we are away from suffering, it means we are with happiness. And finally, Buddha says the importance of practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is highly appreciated in Buddhism. In the current society, a lot of educated people also have recommended to practice mindfulness, but they don't know the real meaning of mindfulness in Buddhism. They usually tell that, please forget your past, forget your future, keep your mind in the present moment. That is their advice. But Buddhism never says to forget our past or future. We should be aware of our mind and body. We can think anything in the past or future, it doesn't matter. But the important thing is the awareness, mindfulness. When we think some incident which happened in the past, we should have an ability to understand, now I read my mind. For example, when you remember someone who has blamed you, you can remember mindfully. Then defilements don't come to your mind. You are aware of that, now I am reading my mind, not the real situation. Then you can remember a person who has blamed you smiling. Because now the incident has ceased. Now I read my mind. Now at the moment that person also has forgotten everything. When you remember someone who has passed away, what you remember? You remember the incident which happened in the past. Now everything is finished. Now you read your mind. If you remember that incident with delusion, your mind is fixed in the past experience, you may cry because you are ignorant. You don't know that now I am reading my mind because of your ignorance. Then you live in the past experience and you may cry. The tears are falling down. As soon as we remember something, if we have an ability to understand, now this incident, that this thought comes to my mind at this moment, it is not permanent. It arises this moment with the conditions and immediately it ceases. If we know this understanding, if we know this reality, actually we can remember anything in past or future without suffering. Here it is very important to practice mindfulness, awareness of our mind and body, awareness of our body, feelings, consciousness and mental formation. Then we do everything mindfully. And not only mindfulness, as soon as we experience something through our senses, we know very well this experience arises at the moment. And at the moment, we have no suffering with anything or anybody. Then our real success depends on the duration that we practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the best friend of our life who brings us real happiness. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, it means we are suffering. Whenever we are suffering, it means we are not in mindfulness. If we are in mindfulness, it means, Buddha says, we are in the field of Father. Whenever we are not mindful, we are in the land of Mara. That is why, day by day, we should increase the time that we practice mindfulness. Not only while we are doing sitting meditation, whatever we do from morning to night, if we can do everything with mindfulness, then we have no defilements in our mind. We have a balanced mind, unshaken mind. And in this situation, it is very important to recognize our mind and mental formations. And our happiness completely depends on the point of view that we see the world. And first, we should go away from the material things, keeping our mind inside. Then, keeping our mind in wisdom, we go away from our mind too. First, we when we experience something through our senses, if we are mindful, we reflect on inside. Like we go to the mirror, we see this side, we correct here. Then, keeping our mind in wisdom or panya, we reflect on the impermanence of mind. You know, there are some ascetic people who keep their mind inside or mind, and they think mind is permanent. But Buddhism doesn't say that mind is permanent. Mind also impermanent. First, we should protect our mind from outside things and persons, keeping our attention inside. Then, keeping our attention in wisdom or panya, reflecting on impermanence, we go away from our mind too. We see everything as impermanent. Some people who practice meditation, they think there are nothing outside, but there is something inside mind. They get something inside as permanent. That is also one of the ignorances. But here, we Buddha's followers, finally we should come to wisdom. When we are in mindfulness and wisdom, we see everything as impermanent. Have any question?
So but there's nothing else besides the mind, right? When we don't think about the mind, so...
Yes, not only mind, but every moment we have 5 aggregates. Form, feelings, perception, mental formations, consciousness. These 5 things together every moment. For example, when you think something, your mom or your dad, or you think some form which happened in the past, that is also which is forms which related to your mind. Mind cannot live alone. Wherever mind is, other 4 things are together. There are 5 things are together. But here we try to keep our attention inside. It means that it doesn't mean that we can divide 5 aggregates. We can separate 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates cannot be divided. We recognize those things wisely with our wisdom. And first, for example, when you listen in this sound is related to form. Even though we can see it is also one of the forms according to Buddhism. When you taste something, that is also a form according to Buddhism. When you touch something, that thing also a form. These 5 aggregates are together always. But however, we recognize those things mentally, wisely. By practicing meditation, especially by practicing samatha meditation, concentration meditation, we try to keep our attention inside. By practicing mindfulness, little by little we go to inside. First, we reflect on material things, then gradually we go to inside, mind and mental formations. Then we see the impermanence of mental formations too. Then we see everything is impermanent, nothing is permanent. But some people who practice meditation without listening to Buddha's message, they think even though there is nothing permanent outside, there is something which is permanent inside. That is also one of the ignorances. But Buddhist perspective is to focus on to impermanence of our mind too. That is the real success.
So would you say that mind and consciousness, they are different?
Mind and consciousness sometimes we can use in the same way, The reason is that, Pali words, when we are going to translate some Pali words, it is difficult to find some correct English words. Yes. According to Pali language, there are 3 words for mind. Mano, Chitta, Vijnana. Sometimes they use in the same way, but sometimes their meanings are different. Consciousness can be applied for 6 senses. Mind is only one of the doors. For example, eye form. When they are together, then eye consciousness. Ear, sound, then ear consciousness. Body, feelings, then body consciousness. And tongue, taste, then tongue consciousness. Nose, smell, then nose consciousness. Consciousness can be applied for 6 senses. Mind is one of the doors. It means there are 6 senses inside. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. Then it is mind, not consciousness. But consciousness are related to for all 6 senses. With these 6 senses, consciousness. Mind is here one of the doors for sense. There are little difference. And however, English language is not rich to explain those words in English words. Some Pali words cannot be translated to another language. That is a difficult thing. Yes, however, we were talking the path of happiness that Buddha has explained. Actually, we are so fortunate to understand the way of happiness. But there are a lot of people, even though they are well educated, they always go to correct outside things. They are going to control outside people and things in the name of happiness. In this situation, we Buddha's listeners, we are going to correct inside. We are going to change our point of view. For example, people in the world, those who are wearing color glasses, they are going to remove the colors in the world. But problem is here. Wearing a red color glass, they are going to remove the red color in the world. But we are going to remove the glass here. Then we don't have to correct outside. The problem is here. What is the problem? We think there is a permanent world outside. There is no permanent world in the world. If we can understand, then we change our negative thoughts. We change our prone thoughts. We create an eye to see with the understanding of impermanence. Then we never accept an impermanent world outside. We know very well world is changing every moment. Then the world changes, we don't get upset. When you throw a rubber ball to the water, you never think that should go down, go to the bottom. Because you are intelligent. When the rubber ball doesn't go to the bottom, you never cry. What is the reason? You know very well rubber ball doesn't go to the bottom. When you throw a stone to the water, you never think that should be in the surface level. When the stone that you throw goes to the bottom, you never cry. You know very well that is the nature of the stone. We also are knowledgeable when we have understanding the world. When the world changes, we never get upset. Because we have changed our attitude. Wise consideration. Buddha says the most important thing is in the world is wise consideration, wise reflection, yoniso manasikara. The attitude, the point of view that we have not to disturb our mind. Creating a strong mind that nobody disturbs is the real success in our life. Okay, have any question?
I have one comment on the karmic law. I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about philosophy, and he doesn't believe any religion or anything. And I explained like the karmic law and rebirth, how depending on our actions, we reward different levels. And I give an example like if there's a person and this person is mean or evil, whatever, and then maybe this person can be born, let's say with defects or handicap or diseases, something. But this new person that reborns, this person does not remember what happened in the previous life. So then he asks me, so what is the purpose? What is the purpose of something that you don't remember? So in other words, if I know that I did something wrong, okay, I can go, I remember, okay, I have changed it. But if you don't, what is the purpose of the karmic law? So for example, in Africa, you have little kids, they don't have food, they don't have water, there's a lot of disease. If that's a result of their previous karma, for example, but they don't know. They don't remember what they did. So how can they change if they don't remember previous life? So that's his question. What is the purpose of that?
Yes.
We don't know, and I couldn't answer.
Yes, actually we can see it in several ways. The first thing is sometimes we can change some people's point of view suddenly. First of all, we can say them. For example, when we do something in the morning, we can be happy in the evening. For example, when I help some person who is homeless, when I offer some food to him, if he can give some money for him, we can be happy at the same time. And if we have taken care of our parents, we can be happy. I have helped my mom, my dad. That is the visible result. Actually, Buddha explains his doctrines little by little. Dana kata, sila kata, sagga kata. Buddha says the stories of the benefits of offering. Sila kata, the stories of practicing, the results of practicing virtue. Little by little, Buddha goes to the deeper level. And karmic law, the first thing is, when we do some good actions, we can be happy. When I disturb someone, then I have regret. because when I think that incident, I think it is not good that I did. Then that is the very primary level understanding. Then, when we go to the deeper level with reincarnation, there are a lot of researchers in the world. Not only today, but for thousands of years, people are doing some researches about reincarnation. And even though we don't believe reincarnation, we can get some idea. There are some differences in the world. And sometimes some people have a lot of difficulties. As you mentioned, there are some people who are disabled, who are some handicraft. Then actually they are suffering, but they can't remember what they did in their previous life. Then some people can say that, why we do good deeds if we can't remember our previous experience? But the thing is, when we see other people, in some way, when we believe the karmic law, we can help them. And when we help them, we can show our compassion. And that is one of the benefits that we have. The other thing, a lot of people can believe if they have a very blissful life, they don't know what are the good things that they have done in their previous life. Yes. Then they can believe the next birth too, because if they can't read their previous life, how they believe their next life? That is why we have to see some researchers. There are some people who are hypnotized, and they say their previous lives. In this situation, we can get some idea. But the important thing is, whether we like or not next birth, whether we believe next birth or rebirth, it doesn't matter. Buddha explains Dhamma not to have a blissful life in future, but Buddha explained his message to overcome suffering that we have at the moment. Here, even though some people don't believe past life and future life, they like to overcome suffering. In this situation, we can give some guidance to them. For example, when somebody blames you, what happens to your mind? You get upset. When your close relatives die, what happens to your mind? When you go to the old age, when you go to some serious sicknesses, what happens to your mind? Even though you are well educated, even though you are very rich, even though you have a lot of relatives, those things can change your mental situation. That is why we should practice sublime truth. That is why we should practice mindfulness. Actually, when we enter this path, gradually our understanding of rebirth increases.
Yes. It's difficult to explain to him.
Yes, actually we can't explain reincarnation with details.
Right.
It is very difficult to say. For example, now I am thinking, for example, I can say, what do you think now? What do you think now? Please think something. Your hometown or your parents, or please think something. What you think now?
My mom.
How you get proofs that you that you think your mom?
Right.
Physically, can you give some proof? No, you can't.
Exactly.
Even though we do some things, we think some things, we can't present some proof.
Right.
Reincarnation also like that. Even though we can give some proof, we can say that it is false. That is the situation.
Right. Yeah, I don't have a doubt. It's just I try to explain, and it's hard because when you go to a philosophical level, you talk about logic and what could happen and not. So.
Actually, the very interesting thing in Buddhism, in the surface level, in Buddhism, we say there is a reincarnation. It is true in some levels. When we go to the deeper level, we don't say there is something which is permanent. We don't say this person will be reborn in this way. We don't say in the deeper level in Buddhism. Because not only after we die, but in the same life, from this moment to this moment, there is no same person. Buddha says, in the situation that there is no permanent thing from moment to moment, how I proclaim a permanent person who will reborn in the same way? That is the deeper level understanding in Buddhism. It doesn't mean that is another person. We don't say he is another person, and also we don't say he is the same person. When we go to the deeper level, among the people who are ignorant deeply, Kammasakata Sammaditthi, the right understanding of karmic law is a right view. When we compare the highest understanding, the ultimate truth, even Kammasakata Sammaditthi, the understanding of karmic law is also a false.
That makes sense.
Yes. Buddha says there is a very special discourse in middle length, Majjhima Nikaya, Sabbasava Sutta. If someone says that there is a permanent person who will be reborn after dying, that is a big mistake. That is a big mistake. Okay, actually sometimes, even though now I explain these things to you because you are coming here for a long time, you have been coming here for many years. That is why I explain these deeper level things. But some people who comes very rarely, we can't explain those things to them. If we explain those things, they may get some wrong views. Okay, thank you, Pranando, for your good attention and answering questions. Okay, today we explained the happiness in Buddhism, the supreme wealth, Santutti Paramandanam. Buddha says, Santutti Paramandanam. Happiness is the supreme wealth. Happiness, people in the world, ordinary people, are going to collect something, earn something as material things in the name of happiness. But we Buddha's listeners, Buddha's followers, we are going to correct our wrong view. Then that is the way that we achieve the real happiness. While the people who are changing, who are controlling outside, we are going to change our attitude inside. That is the real path of happiness. here it's very important to understand practicing mindfulness, awareness of our body and mind. When we practice mindfulness, other four things gradually increase. Confidence in Buddha's enlightenment, energy, concentration, and wisdom. Mindfulness is the center. When we are in mindfulness, our confidence in Buddha's enlightenment increases. Our energy to go forward with this experience increases. Our concentration, the duration that we practice samatha gradually increases. Wisdom that we practice on impermanence also gradually increases as the result of living in the mindfulness according to Buddha's message. These five things are the real wealth in our life. Five spiritual faculties. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Confidence, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Day by day, we should increase these five things to the maximum level. Okay, today we discussed a lot of things according to Buddha's message about happiness, and from the primary level to the highest level we discussed Buddha's message, and by the power of listening to these messages, what Buddha explained, we acquired a lot of meritorious thoughts in our mind. By the power of all these positive thoughts, may our departed relatives also receive these merits, and may they enhance their spiritual energy. May they rejoice with these merits, and may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our departed relatives to recite in the Gatha. Idamme jnātinam hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. Idamme jnātinam hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. Idamme jnātinam hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. By the power of all these merits that we increased at the moment, may guardian deities and angels also receive these merits. May they rejoice with these merits, and may they enhance their divine energy, and may they also attain final bliss of liberation, and may they keep their eye on you too. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these merits, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. May you be well, happy and peaceful. Finally, may all of us attain final bliss of liberation, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkha, bhayam pantā ca nidbhaya, sokam pantā ca nissokā, hontu sabbe pipānino. Dukin pelena sat, dukin medetvā, bien pelena sat, bien etivetvā, sovinte vena sat, somnas vetva nitin me හැම සත් සුවපත් වේවා. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.